Hey everybody, welcome back. So we are starting to set things up for real. We have gone through our What's worksheet and figured out what all needs to be done. We have assigned tasks and now everyone has their stewardship list. They know what they're in charge of. Now there are a couple things we want to do before we start trying out this new strategy and system for our family. First of all, we want to go through our trial run worksheet. And that is, it's going to have all the detailed notes of what I'm talking about and some questions to work through with your family to make sure that you have 4 pillars set up before you start trying this out. Now, the first pillar is relationships, and we have a whole separate video and worksheet to work through for relationships to make those strong and ready to go to be totally successful at getting our home managed and homeschool or regular school or whatever else is going on in your family life. Then the second one is our family economy and training. When I refer to a family economy, I'm basically referring to either some families use an allowance for this, where kids are responsible for certain tasks, and if they fulfill those tasks, they get their allowance. If they do not get their allowance. For us, we do not use allowance, we use a system of privileges and consequences. So basically, they have privileges in their life, and then if they are responsible for their tasks and their stewardships, they will continue to be able to have those privileges. Of course, they have basic needs that we're not going to take away. These are above and beyond basic needs that they will get, like technology or having friends over or being able to go do certain activities, things like that. And they will be able to use those privileges if they are done with their responsibilities, which include their stewardships of home management, but also their school. And if not, they will have consequences. They will either have extra stewardships to take care of, or they will lose privileges, or both, depending on the severity. But that's what I mean by a family economy, some way where kids are held responsible for either doing something, they get a reward of some kind, either a privilege or an allowance or praise of some kind. If they do not, they get a consequence. This is a basic cause and effect. It's a great way to teach them about life. And then also a training process. I recommend that if you are starting anything new with your family in terms of taking care of home management or homeschooling or starting a new school year, anything, about 2 weeks before that, you want to make sure that stewardship lists and what lists are ready to go, so you know and everyone knows what they're responsible for. And also, any new tasks have been taught to the person that is in charge of that task. So you want to be doing some training and checkup on them so that they are confident at doing that task and it's not just thrown on them and they don't feel totally overwhelmed. And then, of course, we have our relationship pillar, we have our family economy and training. Our next one is going to be home management. Now, with our home management, we want to make sure we have those stewardship lists so everyone is aware, just like we've talked about. Also, we don't want parents doing everything. We want almost everything that a kid can do delegated to a kid. Of course, parents are still going to have responsibilities, still have tasks they're in charge of that kids cannot do. And you don't want to overload your kids. You want to make sure that these are age-appropriate tasks, and according to circumstances, if they have an extra load in school, you might have to take off some of their stewardships. But like we talked about with our stewardship list, you're going to want specific times where you monitor progress, either a checklist of some kind or a check-in time where you're checking on school, you're checking on stewardships and making sure that these things are done. This is not a nagging system. This is, you are responsible, you've been trained and shown how to do it, and now we're checking your progress. Yes, you can have your privileges or your allowance, or no, you have a consequence. And pretty soon this becomes habitual, where it's something that you don't even have to worry about much because the child is in the habit of doing those things. And also the parents are in a routine of it as well. Lastly, we have a school pillar. Now, if you are homeschooling, this is going to be a greater responsibility for the family, but you're also going to have more flexibility with your schedule. But with school, even if you're sending your kids to school, you will want some kind of home education taking place, either with homework or supplemental education, where if they need help. Make sure you have a specific routine for this, that it is consistent. We do it in a specific way. This can either be a rhythm, we always do this and then this and then this. It can also be a specific time. We do this at 9 o'clock, this at 12 o'clock, this at 4 o'clock. However works best for your family and your scheduling needs. Then also, I always say, if you are going to be homeschooling, make sure that when you start out your homeschooling at the beginning, that you start with discovery-based learning. These are curiosity and goal-based choices that your kid is going to be super interested in. This will get them hooked on the homeschooling idea and also get them on a path to learning how they learn and also how they process information and also how they repeat back information or teach information to someone else. So whether that's in the form of a report or some kind of other way that they're showing you what they have learned. This will help them know best how to learn. And it will also keep them much more motivated because they're interested in it. And when you're starting out homeschooling, be sure you start out slow. This will give people a chance to get used to it, not be overwhelmed. You can start to 1 to 3 subjects. Usually we start with reading, writing, and arithmetic, and 1 discovery subject that we just want to learn about. Sometimes if it's a super crazy year, like we just had a baby or we just had a move or a job change, we will just start with 1 thing and then slowly add on to that until we have a full schedule. That makes everyone move into it more gradually and be better with adding things on. And then once you have those things in place, you'll be able to figure out the rest of your routine around it as well. So I hope those things have helped you. I have all the details and all the questions you need in this Trial 1 Run worksheet. So be sure to print that out and work through that with your family. And you will be all set with those 4 pillars of relationships, of family economy and training, of home management, and of your school pillar, so that you will be ready to get started with your family strategy of moving forward and reaching that vision and those goals that you have together. Now, stay tuned, because the next one, we are going to do the final check before we do our actual trial and try this all out with our family. So see you in the next video.